Hi there. Thank you. I'm Anthony Rose. I usually like to present without slides, which is always a bit like walking on a high wire. If it works, it's very good, but if it crashes, it's ugly. So we'll see how we go. I want to talk today about what I think is the most exciting development in television since as long as I can remember. I'm not talking about video on demand. I'm talking about turning all of live television into a seamless, two-way, interactive, social, augmented experience that's open to thousands of developers to create companion viewing apps around. So a bit about me. I'm probably best known in the UK for heading up BBC iPlayer, as part of which I sought to get iPlayer into every connected TV, which gave me a very good knowledge of the TV industry. After that, I've been CTO at YouView, and now I'm working on a new venture called T-Bone TV, which in theory is still in stealth mode, but I think it has to be kind of world's worst kept secret mode. Before the BBC, I used to be at Kazaa, the music file sharing company, and I think there's a succession of looking at big disruptive plays in the media space. And I'm seeing the same thing happening now. Let me explain. People have spoken about interactive TV for ages. There's been red button for ages and so on. But in all cases, it's been under the control of broadcasters or telcos. It's been closed, and the broadcasters have only used red button for the particular set of purposes. Users have been unable to tap into things. If you look around your house, all the devices you have are open. You can control. If you want to watch iPlayer and do your email at the same time, you can do it. If you want to browse the internet while watching TV, you can do it. But the TV is closed. It's one way. You can't get into it. Now, this is all going to change dramatically, and it's going to change for two reasons. The rise of connected TVs and set-top boxes, and the rise of companion viewing devices. And together, those are going to enable thousands of developers to revolutionize the way that we watch TV. And there are going to be new power brokers and perhaps new losers in that game. So today, your TV, the broadcaster packages things together in a channel. And they're often, sometimes embracing the new and sometimes trying to control the channel. The telco, of course, wants to package things and become the gatekeeper and the provider of a box with content and connectivity. But that's changing. The likes of Apple are coming along and say, buy our box, an Apple TV, and it comes with content, but put it on any provider. And then Google comes along and sort of lobs a live grenade in the room and says, we don't care what device it is, we'll go and seek content. But in all cases, it's the provider, somebody's trying to control things. And enter the companion viewing device. So now let me skip ahead to the TV viewing experience of the future. So you're watching TV and you pick up your iPad, and your iPad shows an EPG, a program guide of what's on, seamlessly mixing live and on demand. But importantly, it's not just the programs are on, it's showing which of your friends are watching each of these programs right now. And I happen to see Bob's watching a particular program, and I click on Bob's image, and my TV jumps to watch the same program as Bob's viewing. And on Bob's TV, which is a connected TV, a little photo of Anthony wobbles on screen and goes, psst, come watch with me. And Bob picks up his iPad, and there's a chat window already open with me. Example number two is I'm watching the BBC News, and they talk about Benghazi. And I pick up my iPad, and I've got The Guardian, hypothetically, I haven't spoken to them, The Guardian app running. And as the presenter talks about Benghazi, magically it's showing me news on Libya, the conflict, whatever it is, probably cheap hotel deals as well in Tripoli. So how's it going to know that? So where I'm going with this is the availability of information about what's playing now. We'll get back to that in a moment. The ability to overlay things on live TV thanks to connected TVs, and for your TVs to talk to cloud services. And the arrival of companion devices is going to open and create unbelievable opportunity for developers. Now, what's going to happen is, imagine you have a service that's using video fingerprinting, and it knows second by second what's playing on TV. And it's looking at the subtitles, so as the presenter mentions the word Benghazi, that becomes available in open APIs. And as a Nike ad appears on TV, the system knows that's a Nike ad. So now somebody can buy a companion viewing ad. So imagine that you're browsing the web on your iPad, and magically, as a Nike ad comes on TV, you have a Nike click to buy, you've got a coupon, you can add it to your Amazon wish list, whatever it is on your companion device. So how did that happen? And importantly, where's the value chain? Is someone going to ITV and buying a companion viewing app? Is someone going to WPP or one of the advertising bureaus and buying it? Or is someone coming to the app maker and buying it? And it's tapping into the stream of consciousness. So I think we're going to see a big disruption coming up in this place. And again, the companion viewing devices are taking off. Stats show in America, 86% of people have used a companion viewing device, I think, in the last week, rising to 92% on 12 to 24-year-olds. And 20% of people said they'd buy for £1 or $1 a companion viewing app. On the rise of connected TVs, it's going to be game over by 2014. Substantially all TVs sold, even in the next 12 months, from 12 months' time, will be connected, and ditto with set-top boxes. Thanks to the arrival of Android and Linux and so on, the cost of making a set-top box is going to plummet. And the expensive middleware that's owned by NDS and others, I think, in my view, will evaporate. And you'll have a cheap OS, a cheap box made in China, and the value proposition will shift to the UI and the moving of content from live to App Store. And I think what I'm observing is when Sony, Samsung sell you a TV, they make some money from you once, often there's little margin, and they make no money from any live TV consumption. Their goal is to drive you to the apps area. And in the App Store, they eye what Apple's doing and eye a 30% rev share. So their goal, imagine something that as you're watching live TV, can contextually show you things that move you to the App Store. So the device manufacturers seek to be that new, I guess, gatekeeper. In iPlayer was accounting for, iPlayer on PS3 was something like 0.5% of overall iPlayer viewing. As soon as Sony put a big icon on the PS3 desktop, it went to 8% overnight. So the device manufacturers become gatekeepers. But thanks to the emergence of what's a buzzword you'll probably hear, ACR, automatic content recognition, systems that will recognize ads playing, and I'm not sort of future-looking that will recognize a person's face, but simple pattern recognition to go, this frame is exactly the same as this frame. These things are available right now and can tell ads in 3 to 5 seconds, things that can extract subtitles. So the combination of that and open APIs is going to change the space. And now the question is, how do broadcasters react? Today, broadcasters show Twitter hashtags. They know the lure of social. But showing a Twitter hashtag is a bit strange because it's telling people to go to someone else's website, which runs ads that the broadcaster doesn't participate in, can't moderate, and ultimately building someone else's site that will come back and eat your lunch. How do broadcasters engage in this? And so I think the challenge will be, as somebody creates an X factor for next year, is that the X factor program maker now looking to own the companion viewing app, is it the broadcaster showing it, or is it the rise of endless number of developers tapping into these kind of APIs? If you'd like to look at a few of these apps yourself, all of them essentially are American at the moment. The key ones that I've come across are Get Glue, there's one called Mizo or Go Mizo, there's Yap.tv, and probably the one that's lit the fire in the space most recently is Into Now, that was bought by Yahoo a couple of weeks ago for $30 million. And suddenly it went from sort of nothing and vapor to, oh, there's real value. And Into Now is a little bit different because it uses audio recognition on your mobile phone to work out what's playing on TV, particularly important in the US market where you've got hundreds of channels and regional operators and targeted advertising by city, less important here. You'll only be able to download that from the US store. And I think a few minutes playing with these applications, today they can't connect back to your TV. They can't show you who else is watching. You have to check in. They're not there yet, but a few seconds with them shows the future is coming. A few more seconds shows the future hasn't arrived yet. And so that's clearly the area that I find myself in now with T-Bone and a new venture to leverage this new opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And just Well, just before you go, Anthony, could you tell us about, because you talk about these wonderful new experiences, but how, because you were involved when launching the iPlayer, which is something that didn't exist, consumers then adopted it. How quickly do you think that change will happen to consumers adopting the type of, at a mass scale, the sort of experiences you describe?
I think it's a great question, because all previous endeavours in the media space have required the broadcaster or the telco or someone else to initiate the change. You had to do rights deals to make content available. You had to change broadcaster infrastructure. Massive change was needed. This new companion viewing change needs none of those. It just needs any number of developers to create great companion viewing apps, and no end of smart people will create the infrastructure to suck signals out of the air, contextualize them, make apps. So for a user, yes, ultimately you'll get a new connected TV that comes with T-Bone technology or some other technology built in. But as of today, you can download one of these companion viewing apps, and the first company that cracks it and creates a killer one is going to get millions of installs. So we're not waiting in this new space on any of the major incumbents to change or do anything. It's the developer community, and that's why, in the same way with Layer and so on, they're potentially disruptive areas. I think the augmented reality space clearly has a lot of technology and high CPU requirements. In this case, the barrier is a lot lower. And whether that arrives first from someone making a better X Factor or £1 million drop or whatever app than the broadcaster makes, and the audience moving to that one instead, or somebody making a pervasive app that's giving you a constant stream of consciousness about television while you're watching, which is exactly what I'm seeking to do, we shall see big movements driven by thousands of developers rather than the incumbents.
And do you see it, it doesn't have to be a tablet format, it could be a smartphone to be able to do the sort of thing, or some of the things you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any sort of device that can show you, and touchpads. Now again, people have spoken about these things for ages. You've had red button, you've had interactivity. You could always walk in the lounge with your notepad. But, it's the confluence of technology enablers like tablets, synchronicity, people thinking about these, and audiences rapidly changing their behavior. And if when you think about other presentations later today, anyone doing something that's roughly contextual to what's on TV, imagine that they could tap into some APIs that told them second by second what you were watching. Let them send messages back to your TV. Let them see which of your friends was watching. And whether it's QVC that you could buy with a friend to get £1 off, or anything, because it's no longer a few big companies thinking about it. It's thousands of small companies able to execute and build crazy businesses and sensible businesses on it.
And I guess an example is Sky's stimulating developers to create applications. There's something in the news recently about that, hiring developers to start to create those types of apps.
That's right. So, and that's definitely to be applauded, and we'll see in a few minutes, TiVo and other things. And of course, the incumbents are looking to embrace some of these things. I think the revolution that I'm flagging is the openness of the data and the openness of the second screen platform. It's no longer controlled by anybody and will take off in weird and wonderful ways. Certainly in one of our brainstorming sessions, we came up with Splat TV. So, if you didn't like what was on TV, you could just push a button and it would splat stuff on top of the presenter or politician or whatever on your TV. It could well be the killer app. Certainly nothing that the broadcaster or telcos like to make themselves. And it's not the high point of Western existence, but, the fact is, I'm sure there's a market for such a thing.
Okay, good. So can we say thank you for Anthony for his stimulus? So thank you, Anthony. So,